I hate seeing what's happening to our country. I am giving very, very serious thought to going for it.
You've said June you're going to make your decision. Why wait?
Well, I have to wait till June because I have a very successful television show. Unfortunately, that you have a certain little rules and regulations in this country that I can't do anything right now because of airtime. So I'm doing Celebrity Apprentice. It's a big hit television show. It's the 11th season. I will be announcing sometime prior to June, one way or the other. And I can tell you, I hate seeing what's happening to our country. I am giving very, very serious thought to going for it. But I'll be announcing my decision one way or the other by June.
Now, if you decide to take on Barack Obama, you're going to have to get through the GOP primary first. And a lot of primary voters may not be assured of your conservative credentials because you've donated a lot to Democrats over the years, the Democratic Senatorial Committee, powerful liberal senators like Chuck Schumer, Harry Reid, and others. What say you?
Well, I will tell you, they're all friends of mine. And I think that's an asset, really an asset, because when I look at the conflict going on with everybody in Washington, it's like deadlock. It's gridlock, deadlock. And I've known these people for many years. They've been friends of mine. And you have to remember, I come from a very, very Democratic state, New York. If a Republican gets in, it's almost like a fluke. It's very unusual that you ever see a Republican getting into a high office. Your governor, it's very, very rare that you have a Republican. Michael Bloomberg's a Republican, wonderful guy, great friend of mine. But I come from a predominantly, and when I say predominantly, largely predominantly Democratic state. So over the years, I've made many friends with Democrats. I'm a business person. I frankly would really, you could say you have no choice. But I've made many friends with Democrats, and I have contributed to Democrats, and I've contributed great amounts of money to Republicans.
Now, according to the Daily News, you registered as a Republican in 1987, then switched to the Independence Party in 1999, then became a registered Democrat, then back to Republican in 2009. So how committed of a Republican are you? Well,
I'm very committed. I was a Republican for many years, and then I wanted to sort of see and sample what everybody had in mind. And frankly, the Independent Party, they wanted me to run, and I decided I didn't want to do that. I looked at the landscape of this state, and this state is virtually all Democratic. I went that way for a little while, but really ultimately decided that I'm a Republican. And not only a Republican, I'm a very conservative Republican, and it's really where I belong. And I think, when you use the word conservative, whether it's in military and military, the feeling of the military, the love of the military, I'm a very, very strong conservative. So I'm really at a point where I've witnessed the Democrats. I've witnessed many different groups. I started as a Republican and I finish as a Republican. That's where I want to be.
You mentioned the military. One knock against you moving forward could be you don't have military experience. And we have a president who is currently MIA while the Middle East is ablaze. So foreign policy is going to matter. Who are those three establishment figures that you would hire to beef up your military platform?
Well, when you say I don't have military experience, I mean, I was, during the Vietnam War, I was in the draft, and I had a very high number, so I was never drafted. Very interestingly, but I was never drafted. There are lots of great figures. I don't want to mention names right now, but there are lots of great figures out there that could do a great job in terms of the military. There are some people that I use right now as counsel in terms of my own ideas and forming my own ideas. I do feel, however, that we've been in Afghanistan for an endless period of time. We've been in Iraq for an endless period of time. Endless. It's time that we rebuild our country. It's time that we rebuild our military. I mean, I am a big proponent of having a stronger military than we have right now. Weapons change. Technology changes. I think that we should be rebuilding our military. I see people wanting to cut military, and I actually hate to hear that, the concept of cutting military, because when I look at missiles, when I look at Russia telling us how many missiles we can produce and all of the other things that we discuss, I hate to see it. And it wouldn't be happening. I think I'd get along very nicely with the folks over in Russia, but they're not going to be telling me what to do with military if I decide to run and if I win. That I can tell you right now. But when I look at Iraq, And I look at what's going on in Iraq. My prediction is as soon as we leave, Iraq will explode, and Iran will take over Iraq, and they'll take over the oil in Iraq. And if anyone's going to take over the oil in Iraq, it's going to be the United States. It's not going to be Iran. When I look at Afghanistan, we build a highway. We put a school at the end of the highway. They blow up the highway, and they blow up the school. I want to invest money in our country, and I want to invest a lot of money in our military.